Hello everyone, I am Syed Saad Pirzada. I am working as an associate software engineer at Data Science Dojo. I am also Microsoft Certified Azure Developer Associate. So first of all, let's discuss about the agenda for today. So I will be first going through what is Azure CLI and its installation steps. Then I will discuss about most commonly used Azure CLI commands. Then we will take a look at Packer tool and its installation steps. Then I will discuss about what is source image gallery and a brief discussion about Packer templates. In the end, we will jump onto the practical where I will show by creating a virtual machine offer using Azure CLI and Packer. And in the end, we will test that offer on a virtual machine. So this is the agenda for today's webinar. So let's first discuss about the introduction to Azure CLI and Packer. What is Azure CLI? So Azure CLI is a tool through which we can issue commands and can manage resources easily on Azure portal. What is Packer? Packer is a tool used to automate the creation of images either on virtual machines, containers, or it can be any other compute resources. Now let's see what are the prerequisites for creating a virtual machine offer on Azure. So I was discussing about the prerequisites for creating a virtual machine offer. So for this, you must have one Microsoft Azure account with at least one subscription. Then you must have Azure CLI installed on your local system, a Packer tool installed on your local system, access to at least one command line terminal or Windows PowerShell, and a text editor, which will be a Visual Studio Code in my case. Now, first look at the steps to install and configure Azure CLI. Before moving on to the steps to install Azure CLI, I would recommend you all to first create a fresh folder in your C drive. Let me show you. Fresh folder inside your C drive with this webinar name so that all of the installations are at one place and we don't face any installation issues. Let's come to the slides again. So I am pasting this link in the chat. This window will open. So depending on your operating system, you have to install Azure CLI. In my case, I am using Windows operating system. So I will go on this install on Windows. And after this, I will scroll down and there is an option of Microsoft Installer MSI. I have to click this latest release of the Azure CLI. And when I click this, it will start getting download on my system. I have already downloaded it for me so that I can save some time. So once it will get download, it will show you inside this folder which I created in C drive webinar. This will be downloaded here. After that, you have to click it and just follow the simple installation steps. You have to just click next, and finish button. And in this way, Azure CLI will get installed. To verify whether Azure CLI has been installed properly on your system and its installation is successful, we will verify that through the AZ version command. So we have to type this command on the command prompt or Windows PowerShell. I am typing it on the Windows PowerShell to verify whether the installation is successful or not. Azure version. Sorry, AZ version. And it shows the Azure CLI version. That means Azure CLI is installed properly on my local system. You have to follow these steps to install Azure CLI. Now I will discuss about some most commonly used Azure CLI commands. So the first command is AZ login. AZ login command helps you to log in into the Azure portal. So once you get login to the Azure portal, after that you can easily create resources on that. The second command is AZ account set flag as subscription name. So one Azure account can have multiple subscriptions, right? For example, if an organization have 3 different departments, IT department, finance department, or HR department, and all of these departments have their own subscription. And if I want to create the resources inside the IT department, so I have to mention this value inside the subscription name, the subscription value inside the subscription name. So in this way, I can only be able to create resources inside that specific subscription. The third command is az group create. It is basically to create a resource group in Azure. So in Azure, when we create resources, it always needs to be created inside a resource group. And what is a resource group? Resource group is basically can be referred to as a logical grouping of the all the resources related to each other. So it's just like a folder, and inside that folder, we create all the resources which are interlinked with each other or related to each other in some way. The fourth command is to create a virtual machine. So if you want to create a virtual machine, it's need to be under a resource group. So the flag resource group basically tells us under which resource group we want to create that virtual machine. Then the name specifies the virtual machine name we want. Image basically specifies the underlying operating system for that virtual machine. And then admin username flag, we basically set the username and password through these flags. The last command is azvm delete. By writing this command, by executing this command, we can easily delete the virtual machine, and we have to specify the resource group as well. So let me show this one helpful command to you by running it, azvm help. So when I run this command on Windows PowerShell, azvm. So this command is quite helpful, and it can tell you about the details of other commands as well you can use for virtual machine. Let's say I have explained about the delete command. Here I have explained this delete commands functionality. You can use to resize the virtual machine also. From here you can take help. You can see stop. We can stop the virtual machine so that we can save cost and some other useful commands. So this is quite a helpful command which I have added here. Now let's come to the slides again. Now let me give you an overview about the Packer tool. So what is Packer tool? Packer is an open source tool which is used to automate the creation of images on virtual machines or containers. What are some of the key features of Packer? So some of the key features of Packer include that, first of all, it is an open source tool. And due to an open source tool, we can also easily install this tool on our systems, and we can easily use this tool to deploy images. The second advantage of Packer tool is that it supports multi-cloud platforms. So it means that if we create an image, we can easily deploy that image on multiple cloud platforms such as AWS, Google Cloud Platform, and Azure as well. So this is the main benefit. The third benefit is automated image creation. So Packer basically automates the whole process of creating a virtual machine image. So in this way, we save time and it reduces the manual effort. The fourth key feature is image provisioning. Packer can provision the images with all the necessary softwares. We can easily install different libraries, dependencies like the and different softwares like the operating system. Now let's move to the installation steps of the Packer. So I am pasting the link in the chat. So when you open this link, now depending on your operating system, in my case, it is Windows. So I will click this Windows tab and it gives me different options. In your case, you have to install 386. I'm installing 386. So I will download this file and I will select the path which I mentioned under the C drive, that is webinar folder. And here this zip file will get downloaded. Depending on your internet speed, it will take some time, but it will get downloaded here. So what you have to do is that you have to basically first extract this folder. So I have extracted out here. And once it gets extracted, you have to open this. So there is one file under it, executable file, packer.exe. So what you have to do is that you have to copy this path, which is on the top. I have highlighted that path. You have to copy this, and then you have to go inside your environmental variables. So here I have searched environment variables, edit the system environment variables. I click this. Then you have to go here, environment variables, and I have to edit basically system variables. Here it is the path option. I click this and I have already added this. You see here, I have already added it. For your case, you have to click new button and then you have to paste it here, which you copied the path and then press OK, OK, and OK. So in this way, Packer will be added in your system environment variable. So in this way, you can download Packer, and to verify whether Packer has been successfully installed on your system, you have to run this command Packer version. So I have already installed this, so that's why I am writing this command to verify its installation. So Packer version. Let me full screen it. And it shows me the version 1.8.5. So it means Packer has been successfully installed. Now let's move to the slides again. So both of the tools, Azure CLI and Packer, are successfully installed on our systems. Now let me give you a brief introduction about what is source image gallery in Packer. So source image gallery is a repository of pre-configured virtual machine images, which serves as a starting point to create new machine offers. These images are typically customized with specific software and configurations, hence it make it easy and faster to spin up new virtual machines. So in our case, we will be using Ubuntu 18.04 as a pre-configured virtual machine, and we will be customizing it in a way by installing a RabbitMQ software on it. And what is a RabbitMQ software? RabbitMQ is basically a message queuing software. So in this way, we will be using a pre-configured virtual machine and then installing a customized software according to our need on it. So it becomes creating a virtual machine offer using Azure CLI and Packer. All of this information, which I said that we will use Ubuntu and the version of Ubuntu will be 18.04. All of this information and what softwares will we need to install on that. This all needs to be defined under one file, and that file is called as Packer template. So Packer template is basically a configuration file which only accepts a JSON format, and in this file we basically define all of this information. There are three basic sections in the Packer template. I will explain these sections once I will jump onto the practical so that it is easier for all to understand and grasp the concept. There are three sections for now. We can just see their names. The one section is the variables section inside the Packer template. The other section is the builder section. And the third section is the provisioner section. Now let's see what are the benefits of using Azure CLI and Packer. What are its main advantages and how it is better than to directly using Azure portal. So the first point is increased efficiency. As I said earlier, Azure CLI and Packer automates the creation of virtual machine images, so it saves time and reduces the manual effort. The second biggest advantage is consistency. Using Azure CLI and Packer, the creation of virtual machines can be standardized. It means that all of the virtual machines created can have the same configuration, hence the risk of inconsistencies is reduced. The third advantage here mentioned is scalability. Azure CLI and Packer handle the creation of virtual machines at scale. So for example, if an organization wants to create hundreds of virtual machines in just few minutes, so they can easily use Azure CLI and Packer and efficiently achieve this task. The fourth advantage is flexibility. Since both of these tools, Azure CLI and Packer, are cross-platform tools, so they can be easily installed and we can easily issue commands through any of the operating systems, either Windows, Mac, or Linux. And the last advantage is version control system. So Packer templates can be easily version controlled. That means we can easily keep the track of different versions of the Packer template we define. Now from here, let's move on to the practical, and in the practical, we will be creating a virtual machine offer using Azure CLI and Packer. And in our case, virtual machine offer will be a RabbitMQ software, which is a message queuing software. That you can all clone that project onto your local systems, and then we can get started with the practical. So I have already cloned that project into my local system. So I have changed the path, and I'm under the folder which I have cloned, creating virtual machine offer using CLI and Packer. So I will first explaining the Packer template in detail and about those three sections which I mentioned in the slides that I will be explaining here. So the first section is the variables section. Under this section, we define the variables which are used throughout the Packer template. So here variables we need to define are subscription ID, tenant ID, client secret. All of these values we can easily get from Azure, and I will tell that how we can get these values from Azure portal. So first we look at how we can get the subscription ID from the Azure portal. So when I go to the Azure portal, you can see this subscription option here. If you don't find the subscription option here, you can easily search the subscription option on the top search bar here. And once you click this subscription option, this window will open in your case. Let me go, yeah, this window. Let me zoom in. And this window will open, and here you can easily find the subscription ID for your subscription. This is the subscription name, and this is the subscription ID. So you have to copy this value, and you have to copy this value, and then I am pasting one command in the chat, and you have to run this command on your VS Code or any other editor. Let me open the chat. So you have to replace your subscription ID under these inverted commas where I have written your subscription ID. So it will come here, and then you have to run this command on Visual Studio Code, like here. So this is environment variables, how we are defining its value. It will get to this file, packer-template.json. So in this way, we will get subscription ID from Azure portal. For the other three values, tenant ID, client ID, and client secret, you have to go to the portal again, and you see this app registrations option here. So basically, you have to first create an app here. Also, if you don't find this option here, you have to search in the search bar app registrations. And once you click this app registrations, you will get this window open on your screen. And you have to click this new registration on the top left corner and give it a name. In my case, I have given it a name SAD app test. So once you will create an registration, you will see that registration configured here, right? And the next step is to click this app, which is in my case SAD app test. When I click this screen will open. And from here, you can get all of the three values, the tenant ID, the client ID, and the client secret. So this application ID is basically a client ID, and this directory tenant ID is a tenant ID. The remaining one left is only client secret now. For client secret, you have to click this option on the left. You can see certificates and secrets here on the left hand side, secrets, certificates and secrets. When you click this screen will open, and you can see the client secret for your app. In my case, my app was SAD app test, so it's the description, and the secret value is here under this value. An important note here is don't copy the value of secret ID. We have to copy the value of client secret. So similarly, we have run the command to configure the environment variables for the subscription ID. Now we have to set by one client ID, client secret, and tenant ID. So you have to paste first client ID here and insert your client ID here under these inverted commas. And then similarly, you have to paste the command which I pasted in the chat for the client secret. You can copy this and paste it here. And similarly, and put your client secret here. And then similarly in the last, you have to execute this command, which is tenant ID. So you will copy this and paste in your uh, code editor. And after running all these commands, you will be able to set the environment variables: subscription ID, tenant ID, client ID, and client secrets. So this was the section variables. The second sections under this Packer template basically refers to the builders. So what are builders? Under the builder section, we define what pre-configured virtual machine we want to use in our case to install the software. So in our case, I am defining that operating system type should be Linux, the image publisher should be Canonical, image offer should be Ubuntu server, image version should be 18.04, and image version should be latest. Now you all will be wondering from where we can get these specific values, because we only know the operating system type, and sometimes it's just version 18.04 or Ubuntu 20.04, but from where we can get all of this rest of the information. So to get this information, there is one command. I am pasting it in the chat, and then I will execute that command on my end, so it would be more clear to all of you. Yeah, let me paste it in the chat. So this is the command. I am running this command on Windows PowerShell on my end. So I am executing this command az VM image list, and it is showing me the output. So we were using operating system Linux, and SKU was 18.04. So here you can see that I got the rest of the details. So SKU for 18.04, the publisher name is Canonical, and the version is latest, and the offer is Ubuntu server. So here I copy these details and edit those details in my Packer template. Also, you can edit this command by providing different flags on it. Let's say you can provide dash offer flag and define the offer name that is Ubuntu server. So it will only show you the Ubuntu images to you. Right now it is showing the Windows images, Ubuntu images. See, it is showing Windows images as well, but you can filter out the results by providing the flags to this command. So I get all of this information, offer, publisher, SKU, and version number from here, and I edit those details into the builder section of my area. So I have defined that I have to use Linux machine, and it is of the version 18.04. So this was the builder section. The third section is the provisioner section. So under this section, we basically define the files for the installation of the software we want. So first we are running this update command. We are saying to inside that virtual machine, first run this update command and then upgrade the machine so that everything is up to date. And after that, under this script stack, scripts key, we are giving 3 files. So what these 3 files are, I will explain it. So it is saying these files are under the scripts folder. So one of these files is update.sh. Through these commands, we are mentioning that first run the update.sh to our Ubuntu machine. Then after that, run this installation.bash bash file and the post update file. So what is the update file? Under the update file, we are basically installing the necessary development tools and Python packages, some of the, and also virtual environment. So in most of the cases, mostly you need this post update file and update.sh file to be there in your Packer template. So this was for the update.sh file. In the post update file, basically is it removes the user specific information and the command history for the security purposes so that no sensitive data is leaked. So these two files are important and you always need them to add here. The third file depends on what software you are installing. The file is installation.sh. So in my case, I am basically installing a software that is RabbitMQ. So I simply Google it that installing RabbitMQ software on Ubuntu 18.04 commands. So I get these commands from one of the articles. So I simply added all of those commands in one bash file. Now I'm basically installing RabbitMQ. You can install any other software, like in your case, you can install Jupyter Hub or any other thing. So you have to simply Google it, that software name and those installation commands for that software on Ubuntu 18.04. So depending on which software you want to install, you edit all of these commands here. So under this script tag, I have defined these files which I want to run on my Ubuntu machine when the Packer template will be built. So this was the whole files structure under this code repository. All of the files are covered. Now we will jump onto the commands we will execute to create a virtual machine offer. So the first command we want to execute is to create a resource group. I am first pasting this command in the chat for the ease of everyone. Let me and I will explain what this command will do. So let me put some. So this command is used to create a resource group in your Azure portal. And what is a resource group? Earlier, as I told, that resource group basically refers to the creation of all the relevant and related resources are placed under a resource group. So basically logical grouping of all the resources. So it created a resource group with the name rg-webinar-vm offer 3. So when I go to the Azure portal, and if I go to this resource group, and if I search my resource group here, which I created, so you can see here that this resource group would be created here. Let me refresh it. RG dash. Yeah, here you can see the resource group is created. And since I have not created any of the resource inside this resource group, so this resource group is empty right now. Now, after this, I have to execute the second command, which will create a source image gallery. So I'm basically pasting this command first in the chat, and then I will execute this command on my end as well. So I pasted the command in the chat. Now let's move to the code. Let me paste. Okay. So the resource group I created was webinar VM offer 3. And let's say I'm giving the gallery name as gallery webinar VM offer 3. So it will create a source image gallery, and I've already explained what is source image gallery in my slide, that it is pre-configured virtual machines, and we can then customize that virtual machine by installing the necessary softwares according to our need. So this command is running. That will create a gallery inside the resource group. Let's wait for a minute to run this command. Meanwhile, you can run this command on your end. Okay, so this command has run and it says that succeeded, that gallery has been successfully created. We will verify whether the gallery has been created or not. This was the resource group, and we see earlier none of the resources were created, but when I do refresh, I will see that gallery is created here. So this command is successfully executed. Then I will execute the third command, that is creating an image inside the gallery. And I'm first pasting this command again in the chat, and then I will execute it on my end. I pasted the command. Let me paste it here. So I am giving the image name as image webinar VM offer 3. And yeah, so in this command, we are basically telling that under the resource group webinar VM offer 3, and inside the gallery name is gallery webinar VM offer 3, create an image with the name image webinar VM offer 3. One important note here is that gallery name and the image name must not contain hyphens or any special characters in their name. We can use underscore in them. Yeah. And then we are saying the image will be created of the Linux, and the publisher name will be, in my case, is Data Science Dojo. Here you can insert your name as a publisher. And what will be my image name finally? It will be RabbitMQ, I'm saying. So I will execute this command, and let's wait for it to execute it. Okay. So it has successfully executed. Now we will verify whether the resource has been created here or not. So this was the resource group. When I basically click, there is nothing right now related to image, but when I click refresh, so I will see that the image is created. Here I can see. I can also see that inside the gallery we created. So here we can see the image, and this was the name of our image. Then only the last command is left, that is to build this Packer template, which we uh, mentioned in our project structure. So I am pasting this command in the chat first. So I have pasted the command here, and so I will not execute this command on my end because it might take around 20 to 25 minutes depending on the internet speed, but I can explain and show you what will be the output of this command. So you have to basically first insert the resource group name which you have defined in the first command. Then you have to exactly mention the gallery name, which was in my case VM offer 3 it was. So I have to write 3 here. Then we have to mention what was the image name in our case. So in my case, it was image webinar VM offer 3. And then we are saying that when you will create this image, so put it as a version 1. So we can afterwards create version 2, version 3. So right now I'm saying, okay, bracket it like a version 1. And this command is saying that build the packer template.json, which we have mentioned here, the file. So when we run this command, it will take around 20 minutes to build the template. And when the command will be successfully run, what will be the output? Let me show you. So the output will look like this. So it will be written there, the artifacts of successful builds are the following. And from here, you can see that you will see this, basically the last line, image webinar VM offer 3 versions. And in your case, it would be 1.0.0 instead of 3.0.0, right? So then this will get executed successfully. So in my one of the resource groups, it was get successfully executed. So let me open that resource group. This was this one resource group. So you will see 2 new resources here. The one resource will be Packer image, and the second resource will be the one version which we basically deployed the Packer template. So all of these steps and all of the commands are executed successfully. Now this is the time to test whether this software has been successfully installed on the virtual machine and we have created the virtual machine successfully or not, a virtual machine offered using Azure CLI and Packer. So in this case, you will have to click this, the first option, that is one gallery webinar VM, and then we will test it on a virtual machine by creating a virtual machine, new virtual machine. So I will create virtual machine here. The option I click create virtual machine, and then I will name my virtual machine, let's say test VM 22. Let's say you can set any random digit or you can give a virtual machine name to it. Yeah. So rest of the settings I am leaving as it is. The size I am leaving as p2ms, and here I will select the password so that my virtual machine can have the username and password, and setting up a password. Okay, here I am allowing the ports to be open in my virtual machine, HTTP, HTTPS also, and then I will click review and create. It will take 3 to 4 minutes to create a new virtual machine. Validation field required information is missing. Let me go to the basic settings again. Have I missed something? No. Let me create it again. Okay, this time validation is passed. Sometimes it happens. So you have to click the create again. So now it is showing me these are the options which I selected for the virtual machine. Now I'm clicking this create option, and then it will take just 2 minutes to create this resource for me. So I am creating a virtual machine through portal, but if I would create this through Azure CLI, it would have not take that much time. So this is the advantage of using Azure CLI instead of using portal. Yeah. So deployment is in progress. To go with the virtual machine, I will click this go to resource, and then first, basically RabbitMQ works on the port number 15672. So I have to allow open this port so that I can listen traffic on this port on which RabbitMQ runs. So I have to go under this networking settings and here add inbound port rule. So here I will write in the destination port range is 15672. This is the port number of RabbitMQ on which it works. So inbound port rule means that we will listen traffic on it. It's showing on the top that it is creating a security rule for me. And once it will create, then I will copy. Okay, it has created. Then I will copy the public IP address by going on this overview section, this public IP address of my virtual machine, go to the browser, paste that IP address here, and write that port number 15672 on which RabbitMQ works. And yes, we can see that RabbitMQ server is running successfully. It is showing us the login page to get inside the RabbitMQ, and we use the guest credentials. Guest username is guest and password is guest. I click login, and when I click login, here we can see that RabbitMQ software has been successfully installed. I can create different queues, different exchanges, and everything. So yes, we have successfully created a virtual machine offer using Azure CLI and Packer. So this is the end of the practical.